Welcome to a special 2017 College Football Signing Day edition of SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, joined by SVSU head football coach Jim Collins, as we get prepared to welcome the newest members of the Cardinal football family. And Coach, first of all, kind of your overall thoughts on this class and what the recruiting process has been like leading up to today.
Well, JJ, obviously every year everybody's excited about their recruiting class. You spend a lot of time with these young men and their families. You get to know them, you get invested, and we're extremely excited about it. It's a great group of guys. First of all, a thanks to our staff. I thought our coaching staff did an excellent job this year, outstanding. They go the extra mile in terms of not just the evaluation process, because that's difficult, looking at a lot of film, asking the right questions, but then getting to know these guys. The home visits, the visiting the high school, the phone calls, the texts, a lot of time and energy spent, and it's an investment because we have to make sure these are the right guys. We have to make sure they're a great fit for Saginaw Valley and our football program. So hats off to our guys on our coaching staff, but in addition to that, everyone at the university who has helped, you've been a part of it as well, our strength staff, our administration, our faculty, our admissions office, our food service department. I mean, everyone at Saginaw Valley, a part of our community that's put in the effort to help recruit these young men. And the people outside the university. I think we stay in hotels, and our people are treated to the best accommodations and, with class. So a heck of a group of young men. It's great to have their families involved as well, and we're excited about the future.
Before we get on to the individual players, you mentioned something in the word fit there, and I ran into one of your seniors, Brian Jones, on campus today, and that was something he volunteered. It was that, because he and obviously a lot of his teammates have been active parts of this recruiting process too, and he really felt like the players, the coaches, and everybody spent a lot of time trying to make sure that not just these players are talented, but they're going to be good fits for SVSU as a university and a football program.
That's a big part of it, JJ, and I didn't even mention that, but our players do a great job. We do player panels. We have players as hosts. They eat with us. They get to know the young men and their families through the recruiting process. And, I think that's a big part of it. If one of our guys came up to us and said, Coach, we don't think this guy's a great fit for our program, we're going to look into that. So the guys that we have that are signing today, that have signed today, every single one of them obviously passed the test with our players. They fit in right away with that group and our coaches. And, the other part of it is this, when we talk about fit, does someone have the academic potential to be a success here at Saginaw Valley in the classroom? It's not just about football. And these young men, about a third of them are academic scholarship winners. And, we don't recruit people that we don't think can be successful here. We're not going to set someone up to fail. Every one of these young men, we talk to their coaches. We've looked over their transcripts. We have a great idea of where they are academically. And these are young men that are going to compete and graduate, hopefully, from Saginaw Valley. That's the goal, and I think every single one of them has that as a goal, to make sure they get that degree.
Moving on to this year's signing class, we'll start at the quarterback position. Bring in two quarterbacks, one of them from right here in the backyard, and who's already enrolled at SVSU.
Well, I just found out today from our recruiting coordinator that Bruce Mann is the first early enrollee in the history of the GLIAC. Now, I don't know, I may be wrong about that, but I think it's true, and that's something special. Just 3 weeks ago, he was sitting in a high school class, and now he's attending classes here at Saginaw Valley. And is fitting in really well and doing a great job. Bruce played at Dow High School, had a great career there, two-time first-team All-State as their quarterback, put up big numbers, won a lot of games, spread offense, and he's big. He's 220 pounds. He's the son of a coach. His dad used to be the coach over there at Bay City Western. So we're extremely happy about Bruce, and we're really happy with the way he's been fitting in so far and the way he's been working. Brett Drosky is the other young man we're bringing in at quarterback. Brett played at Macomb, Dakota, threw for 2,400 yards. He was the fourth leading passer in the whole state of Michigan this year. Once again, played in the spread offense. The unique thing about Brett, and he brings a tremendous amount of toughness to his style. Big scrambler, won a lot of games, another playoff team, Macomb, Dakota, traditional powerhouse. But the other thing that's unique about him is as a junior last spring, he was 9th in the state in the discus. And, you usually don't get that combination of quarterback and weight event track athlete Brett, obviously, and he's right now playing on a basketball team that's one of the best basketball teams in the state. So we're talking about a well-rounded athlete, a tough competitor from a great program. So we're happy about both those quarterbacks, and they're both competitors. You know, when I mentioned to both of them that we're going to bring in 2 guys, they didn't blink. They looked at that as a great challenge and are excited about their opportunities.
And then at the running back position, expecting one more NLI to come in after we're taping the show. We can only talk about those that we have their paperwork at the time of this. Also, we should mention you can't mention people who are coming to the program as walk-ons due to NCAA regulations, because we got some of those people with Cardinal connections who are going to be joining the program as walk-ons. But also that's true at the running back position with one player that we can't talk about right now.
Well, Nate Hankerson played at Novi. Was an outstanding running back for them. And his uncle played basketball here at Saginaw Valley in the early 90s. So he's somebody that is a dynamic player. He's big. He's right around 6 foot. I think he's going to be able to get to 200 pounds in no time. He came in here, ran a 4.5, had a great season for them at Novi, and I thought was an explosive type of big back that we're looking for. And so it was a no-brainer for us. He's an outstanding student, and he's like I said, a dynamic playmaker. And that's what you're looking for from these skill positions. You're looking for guys that can make plays, that can hit the home run. And we really feel like the guys we got at the skill position are those home run guys. But in the case of what we were looking for at the running back position, we're looking for guys that were a little bit bigger. You know, a 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1" type of guy, and that's where Nate is. So excited about him, and once again, having that family connection, it helps. There's no doubt his uncle did a great job of selling the university to Nate, and it's exciting.
Moving on to other parts on the offensive side of the football, moving next to the tight ends, bringing in 3 tight ends, one from Detroit Catholic Central program that sent a lot of players to SVSU over the years, but then also bringing in 1 tight end from the Cleveland area and another from the Pittsburgh area.
And JJ, 3 tight ends is what we really felt like we needed. We thought, we're going to lose a couple guys after this season of graduation, so obviously that's a position where we thought there was a big need for numbers, and then the other thing was for size. And all 3 of these guys are big guys. Starting with Jack Morris at Detroit Catholic Central, he's a 2-way player. He played D-end as well as tight end. And he stood out on a team that made it to the state finals. He's athletic, very physical, very tough, very good student. And I think the other thing that Jack brings is just a lot of enthusiasm. And we're talking about a guy that came up on campus, immediately fell in love with it, and got excited and committed right away. And the guys that you don't have to twist their arm and convince end up being great players for you, because you know from day one they're sold on your program. So we're excited about Jack. Now the other 2 guys, one's from Pennsylvania, Nolan Janilla. Up until this past season, Nolan was playing quarterback down there. His father was a starting quarterback on the Pitt team that beat Notre Dame back in '86. So he had that pedigree of growing up as a quarterback. He made the switch to tight end. He's 6'6", 240 pounds right now. He's big and strong, but the number of plays he's played at tight end has really been just limited to this year. So he's still in that developmental phase, and that's what's exciting, because we really feel like he's got a great amount of growth and potential. He's a tough guy. He's got great ball skills. And as I say, he's just starting to learn the position. So we're excited about being able to bring him into our program and develop. And we think he's going to be a quick learner. He's a smart kid. And having played quarterback, he's got an offensive background, obviously, where he understands things. The third guy is Alex Whitaker, who up until about the midway point of this year was playing tight end. His starting quarterback at his school got hurt. They moved him to quarterback, which I think really shows what type of an athlete he is. And he was tremendous. So he was a really good receiver / tight end for him. And then he makes the move to quarterback, and they go on a great playoff run down in Ohio. And this is a big school, Medina. So, I mean, we're talking about a Whitaker who's athletic enough to play quarterback. We're talking about Janilla, who has that quarterback mentality and made the switch, and you could see the tenacity starting to come through in his film. And then a Jack Morris, who's a 2-way player on a team that went to the state championship. So we really feel strongly about that tight end position.
Then tight ends, moving on from there to the offensive line, bringing in 3 players along the offensive line, a center, a guard, and a tackle.
We had to get some interior guys. Last year we brought in some lengthier guys that are tackle guys, tackle type of bodies. So it was critical that we brought in a center. And Ian Purcell from Trenton plays for the coach at Trenton, Aaron Seghetti, is a Saginaw Valley grad, so great connection there. And Ian's has a great chance of being a state champion this year in wrestling. He is what you're looking for out of a center. He's smart, calls out all the signals, and in this day and age, JJ, with most teams in the shotgun, having a guy that's got experience with the shotgun snap is critical. It's not like the olden days where you can move anybody to center. So having him as an experienced guy, but then you watch his highlight film. He's a mauler. He's a guy that it finishes blocks, he runs his feet, he's got a nasty streak to him. We went over and saw him wrestle, and he's pinning guys in 10 seconds. I mean, he's what you're looking for out of a center. Jack Doyle, Homewood Flossmoor, we moved our recruiting efforts into Illinois, and we found Jack. He's 330 pounds, and he's like a bull. I mean, you have to really watch his video to understand how physical and how mean and nasty and how well he moves at that weight to really get a good feel for the type of player he is. But Jack's strong. He's got that quickness. They use him a lot where they're pulling and getting him on the perimeter and getting him up to the second level as well as blocking on the first level. And that's the type of mean and nasty, big, strong, physical, quick guy you're looking for as an interior guy. Dejon Parker's our perimeter guy in terms of being a tackle. Whether he plays on the left side or the right side, hard to say right now, but he is athletic. I think the big thing that we saw when we worked Dejon out, and everybody noticed it, is we were just so impressed with his ability to move and change direction and his balance. And it makes sense. Right now, he's playing for a pretty good basketball team. He's averaging about 16 points a game. He's in the double digits in rebounds and block shots. He's probably down a little bit in weight right now. He's probably at about 245. He played over 250, played close to 260 last fall, but he is so athletic and long. His reach, we measure everyone's reach. He's got long arms and great feet. So we're excited about Dejon. We've got an outstanding strength coach in Chris Winter, and I don't think Dejon's going to have any problems putting that weight on so he can get to the level he's got to get at to be a great tackle in this league.
And then finishing things out on the offensive side of the football, bringing in 2 guys at the wide receiver position. One of them from Muskegon Catholic Central, another program that has sent a lot of guys to SVSU, and then also one from down in the Detroit area.
Well, when you look at who we have from Muskegon Catholic right now, who finished the year for us at running back, Tommy Scott, I mean, you start understanding the type of athletes this school turns out. And they've won I think they're at 5 straight state championships at this point. And once again, Walker Christofferson, a dynamic athlete, did it all for them. Played running back, played receiver, played defensive back. Their coach, Steve Zerwan, is a Saginaw Valley grad. He's been there for a while. He was a quarterback when he was here. He's done an outstanding job of not just winning football games, but producing great college athletes. And we're excited about Walker. He's the type of guy you can put in a lot of different spots on the offensive side of the ball. It could be an outside receiver, a slot, put him in the backfield. And he's an explosive player. He's another guy that's in that 4.5 range with the 40, big-time vertical, outstanding athlete. Mike Hill played for Livonia Churchill, big play guy. Once again, we were looking for home run hitters. This guy's another home run hitter. Has great hands, runs great routes, made a ton of big plays for them, and was a guy that immediately, we started watching film early in the season, and he stood out. Coach Taylor did a great job of developing a relationship with Mike and convincing him that this would be the place for him. And I think he's going to be a great fit. Both these guys are going to be a great fit for what we're looking for out of more of a dimensional type of guy, a guy that can do more than just line up as a receiver. So excited about those 2 receivers and their ability to make big plays.
And before we move on to the defensive side of the ball, obviously special teams are important as well. You're graduating your long snapper and Landon Kresnak, so obviously that was a key position to fill.
Well, Tanner Curry, Martin High School, JJ, he did it all there. He's a great athlete. He wasn't just their long snapper. And we're excited about Tanner. He's a 6'4", 250-pound guy, so immediately he's got the size to come in and play college football. And we've got a couple guys on our team right now that are going to compete for that long snapper job. But losing Landon after he did it for 4 years and did it as a true freshman, it's going to be a big hole to fill. And to have someone of this caliber, we put the stopwatch on him during his tryout. He's right there at .8, which is where you want a guy to be for a long snapper. Very accurate, a lot of snap. And once again, with his size and the fact that he did more than just long snap in high school, I think it puts him in a position. You hate to make predictions, but I think it puts him in a prediction to compete right away to be our starting long snapper.
And then now moving on to the defensive side of the football, bringing in 4 guys along the defensive line, including one of them, you mentioned the south suburbs of Chicago, my old stomping grounds, where I grew up, and another one from Homewood Flossmoor High School that's coming on the defensive line, along with 3 others.
Well, we really felt like we needed 2 great defensive ends, 2 great defensive tackles. These are the 4 guys we targeted as our top 4 guys, and we got all 4 of them. And I think it's a testament to our defensive line coach, Josh Miller, all the guys involved, Coach Gonzaga as the defensive coordinator. Let's start with Christian Ballinger. I mean, this was one of those things where Homewood Flossmoor is an outstanding program just south of Chicago, great tradition. I think this past year they had 7 guys signed Division I, and he was getting heavily recruited by some of the teams in our league, and we knew we were going to be in a competitive battle. He came here and really impressed us. He's got size. He's 6'3", 265, and he can move. I mean, he's got a 40 time right around 5 flat. He's strong. He's been well coached, so he's got great technique. And he's an outstanding young man. And once again, I think he's going to be a big-time player for us, make an impact. And that's where it starts, I think, on your defense. You've got to have a great defensive line, and I think this recruiting class looks really good in that department. The other guy, Elijah Davis from Portage Central, is our other D tackle. Once again, he was a guy that only played at Portage Central for 1 year. He lived in South Bend, Indiana, was a basketball guy, great athlete that played offensive line, and when he got to Portage, they moved him to the defensive side of the ball, and it wasn't impressive. You want to talk about a guy, he's 6'4", 284 pounds, and he doesn't look that big because he's in great shape. The way his body composition makes him look like a leaner than 285-pound guy, but he can move, he's athletic, long arms, and we're excited about being able to bring Elijah into the program. At the defensive end positions, two guys that are basically your Detroit suburban guys. Torrey Barkley played at Southfield. Very quick, is going to be an outstanding pass rusher because he's quick, he can move, he's athletic, and he's still growing and is going to get bigger as he comes through our program. But once again, Torrey was a guy that we targeted way back, I think last spring is when we started recruiting him. And Torrey's made a lot of visits to our campus, is very familiar with our program, and was one of the first people to commit. I mean, a guy that bought in right away. And once again, you're looking for guys on the edge with length, guys that can rush the passer, and guys that are physical enough to take on those big tackles. Torrey fits that bill, as does Dylan Webb from Grosse Pointe North. Dylan, same type of thing as Jack Morris. He played tight end. He played defensive end. Our offensive coaches were arm wrestling with our defensive coaches to see who could get him. But really, Dylan's aggressive, tough kid. And I think the thing that stands out, we've watched him play basketball. He's got a mean streak to him. He's a guy that's going to be physical all the time. He's competitive. And once again, a guy that right away took to our campus, took to our program, I think he made 3 game day visits, JJ. I mean, a guy that did his homework on us, we've done our homework on him, and think he's going to do a great job for us on the D-line.
Last time SVSU brought in a defensive end from Grosse Pointe North was a guy named Joe Herman. He had a very successful career here at SVSU. We certainly hope for the same for Dylan. Moving on to the second level defensively, and your linebackers, you've got one from very close to SVSU, and then kind of, again, one from the Detroit area and one from up north.
Exactly, and we'll start with the one from up north, Duke Angers. Played for his dad at Glen Lake. They made it to the state finals this year. Duke had some opportunities. Michigan State wanted him to come in as a walk-on fullback. They gave him a preferred walk-on to play fullback for him. We were impressed with what he could do. He's 6'1", 240 pounds. He's also a hockey player, so it kind of shows, what type of an athlete he is to be able to get out, have that big body out there on skates. Coach Ancona and I went up there and watched him practice hockey, and he's fast too, and he moves pretty well. But he was a physical player, a lot of big hits on his film, and his dad, his coach, maybe a little bit of bias, but says it's one of the best, if not the best, kid he's ever coached, and he's had some good ones up there. But no, we're excited about Duke being a part of our program. Ryan Cornejo from Alma, great length. You're talking about a guy that's 6'3", 210, and came in here and ran a 4.6. And he did it all for them. He was playing receiver, tight end. We think he's going to be a great outside linebacker, exactly what we're looking for. A guy that's got great range, is long, but can cover ground and is athletic enough, can turn his hips and cover people. And really what you want to be able to do in this day and age is have some linebackers that can play in space but are also physical enough to take on the run. Ryan is definitely one of those guys, as is Trevor Nowaski. Nowaski is a guy from Salem High School. We've had some pretty good players come through the program from Salem through the years. Cameron brothers are here right now. Alex Kenrick is here right now. But Trevor had an early offer from Eastern Michigan. And then we got involved in the recruiting process, and he impressed us from day one. And he's once again, he's cut out of that mold of being long, being able to run, being able to move and change directions, but also a very physical football player. And when you look at your linebackers and your tight end group, not only are those guys that obviously are linebackers and tight ends, but they're key guys in special teams, in the kicking game. Big bodies that can run down the field and can cover punts, can cover kicks, can protect for field goals and punt. So we really like this group, very dimensional group.
And then finally closing out, in the secondary, SVSU graduating the defensive back of the year in the conference, All-American Matt McCoy at safety, and bringing in a very deep class, 6 players overall in the secondary.
Deep and talented, and they're very similar because, 5 out of 6 of them are in that 6-foot range, and that's not typical in this league. There aren't a lot of 6-footers in this league, and we don't have a lot of 6-footers. So we went after length, we targeted length, and Andrew Smith, who's 5'10", is still a long guy. And that's where we'll start. We kind of categorize guys into corner and safety. Andrew Smith is a corner from Romeo. They were in the state championship his junior year and won it, beat Cass Tech. This past year they lost to Catholic Central in the semi, so he's been a part of a great program. I think an outstanding cover guy. The other guy right now that we're looking at as a corner is Simeon Kemp. Interesting story about Simeon Kemp. He graduated from Flint Hamady last year. We were recruiting him last year. He was an athlete, receiver DB. Wanted to take his education a little bit further. Went to Milford Academy out east. Did that for a semester, and then came back and expressed interest in coming to Saginaw Valley. And I think he's a great player. I mean, I think he's going to be the type of guy that, with his ball skills, his experience playing on both sides of the ball, is really going to help, because when you're looking for corners, as we see year in, year out, you're looking for guys that can play the ball, have great ball skills. I think Simeon's in that department, so we're excited about being able to get a guy a little bit older than some of the other guys, but with him and Andrew, I think we found 2 really good cover guys. The third guy that's in that mix of being a safety and a corner would be Jalen Perkins out of Simeon High School in Chicago, and that's an outstanding high school. They've produced some big-time athletes through the years. JJ, you know that, being a Chicago native. But Simeon's a guy that is a junior played corner. Jalen is a guy that, as a junior, played corner, as a senior, played safety, and very dimensional, long, very athletic. I had a chance to see him twice at a showcase in Chicago, then on campus, and outstanding young man, and with a lot of ability in terms of coverage skills, and also being a guy that's going to be physical. If we roll him up in a cover 2, the things we saw him doing from the safety position, if we roll him up in a cover 2 as a run support guy, he's not going to shy away from contact. So those are 3 guys we've targeted as corners. Now, from a safety standpoint, same thing. We were looking for the same thing, JJ. Length, guys that could make plays, guys that were physical, and we're excited about all 3 of them. I'll start with Austin McKinney. Austin's, all you have to do is turn on his film and you'll see how physical a player he is. He's always around the football, a hard hitter, and runs really well and is very athletic. And they really relied on him as their big play guy. When you saw big plays at Battle Creek Central, you saw Austin McKinney coming down from the secondary and putting big hits on running backs and receivers. So once again, I think a big time get for us there from a safety standpoint. And then just down the road, we went after someone from a rival school of theirs at Portage Central, Rain Potts. And Rain Potts got a great pedigree. His dad played at Bowling Green, and getting to know the family very well, we found out a lot about Rain's ability as not just a defensive back, but as a receiver and a return man. And once again, those are the traits you're looking for. That plays basketball, as do a lot of these guys do. So very athletic. But Rain Potts, I'm not sure anybody that I've ever seen on all the highlight films through the years was involved in as many turnovers as he has. I mean, he had a bunch of interceptions. He intercepted a option pitch in midair coming down from the safety position. He caused fumbles. He stripped and ran with the football. I mean, he was involved with a lot of turnovers. And that's the game. You know, you're always looking for guys that can create turnovers. Matt McCoy's an All-American because of all the turnovers he was able to create this year. Rain in that boat, being the turnover machine, Austin McKinney being that physical, big hitter type of guy. And then you've got Ryan Flaherty, who played for his dad at Birmingham Groves. And really a little bit of both there. Physical guy, has pretty good size. He's a guy that we could probably make an outside linebacker out of down the road, but right now he's a strong safety. Roll down guy into the box. He's big enough and physical enough to do that. Very athletic, smart, typical coach's son. And we're excited about Ryan. Once again, a guy that jumped on the opportunity real quick, was excited through the recruiting process. And that's what I'll say, JJ. I just read a great article the other day. Tom Osborne said the guys that they had to twist arms at Nebraska never ended up playing for him. And it's the same way at our level. You know, the guys that jump on board are excited about what Saginaw Valley and our academics, our campus, and our football program has to offer and buy in right away. Those guys are going to be great players for you, and all of these guys were those type of guys.
Well, hopefully that proves to be true now, as they'll go from signing day to not too far down the road being on the scout team and working their way back up from there. So we certainly wish all of them well as they go through that process and conclude their high school careers. Any closing thoughts on this year's recruiting class?
Well, JJ, you make a great point there. And we talk about it throughout the recruiting process. It's about coming into our program and developing, and going from point A of being an 18-year-old freshman, with not really knowing what to expect, to that graduation day where you walk out of here with that degree, hopefully some championship rings, great experiences, and having developed to your fullest potential, and being prepared for what life's like after you graduate. And that's what it's about. So this is always an exciting day, signing day. But it's the next 4 or 5 years that I get excited about, working with each one of these young men and their parents on becoming the best they can be.
Well, we hope that they are able to fulfill that potential here at SVSU. Coach Collins, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, JJ.
And we thank you as well, and we hope you have enjoyed this signing day edition of SVSU Red Alert.